Hello, welcome back to the Catch Some SoulShine podcast, and I'm your host, Renee Bova. Today, I am talking with Jo Davis from Lift a Sister Up. She's a mover and a shaker. She's full of wisdom, and boy, did we touch on some good topics. I want to leave you with this one quote that she gave me. It's a mantra that you can use too, and we are going to talk about it in the podcast. Nothing shall enter this sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good. Think about that. Write it down if you want. And here we go. Recording. All right. So, welcome to the podcast, Jo. And I'm gonna read your bio because, of course, I can't memorize anything. Jo Davis is a #1 international best-selling author, a gifted intuitive, which I discovered already by talking to her, deaf Reiki master teacher, adventure addict, and founder of Lift a Sister Up. This organization is driven by the belief that our highest calling is to support and inspire other women to chase their dreams both personally and professionally. Jo is a highly gifted intuitive with over 150,000 followers and students. Her clients include world-renowned thought leaders, best-selling authors, and Grammy award-winning artists. Believing that everyone has these powerful gifts, she shows ordinary people how to tap into their intuitive superpower. I love that. Through one-on-one sessions and her course, Big Mess to Big Magic. She's also a world-renowned artist and owner of Sky Soul Photography, Sky Soul Art, and Jo Davis Art, showcasing over 1,000 pieces of artwork with clients worldwide. You can find her on www.liftasisterup.com, and I will link that in the notes to this. So I guess I should tell everybody our
Should we tell them?
Tell the little blooper. So we recorded this, and guess what? Dawn didn't press the record button.
But it goes to show anybody can do something before they master it. Like, don't wait to do something or try something new. Like, I'm going to get it just right. It's going to be perfect. It'll never happen. Just do it.
Yeah. So thank you.
But we got to talk. It was awesome.
Thank you for coming back, and we're going to do it again. And this time it's going to be great. It was great the first time.
It'll be even better.
It must have been meant for just you and I.
Yeah, it's nobody's beeswax. Well, it's funny because one of the things we talked about is what other people think of us is none of our business. So it was none of anybody else's business.
No.
I don't know.
Evidently not.
So no, thank you for having me. I'm excited, and I know that you're going to do a ton more fabulous interviews with more exciting people coming up, and you're so personable. It's like you get people talking. It's good.
I'm just really excited to talk to you because we are social media friends, and we co-authored some books together. The second one's coming out, Radical Self-Love,
which everybody needs. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But you're just always so encouraging, always on my threads, and I see you, lifting other people up. So you really do what you say. I mean, you live it, which is really important. I want you to share how it came about, the Lift a Sister Up organization, just so people can understand why you felt that calling.
So I was saying earlier, I was like, it's crazy because every time I talk about this story, it feels very vulnerable. And I feel very exposed, and I'm like, should I even be sharing this? Like, it's so personal. But I feel like everybody's been through this, where they have a season in their life that changes dramatically because we're not changing it on our own. So it's sort of changed for us. And for me, I worked for years as an image consultant for a really great company. I worked with lovely people. And something was itching in me that I need to do something different. And I was sort of putting my feelers out there to do something different, and I wasn't aggressive about it. And I started having chest pain. every day at work, and I had chest pain for about 2 months, which is, I was saying earlier, the universe, your soul pulls someone off the bench and says, oh, I'm her soul and I'm screaming to do something different, but she's not taking action. So I need, this thing to show up and affect her body, because her body's always talking to you. And so for me, it started to manifest in my body. And luckily, what a blessing. About 2 months later, I was let go. At the time, I didn't feel like a blessing. It was like, I'm
Mhm.
a single mom with 2 kids, and it was so much fear. And um, oh, I wrote crazy stories in my head. And so when that happened, I looked around at the people around me and they kind of all vanished. I had very few people from my corporate job that were still really present. I had very few people that um, were checking on me. It was like ghost town. And I thought, how in the world did this happen that I all of a sudden, um, I've been trying to do good work all my life and be this good person and put good out and help other people. And yet I'm completely alone in my time of need, other than, a handful of people I'm very blessed to have, but it was just shocking to me. And so I had to really look at myself in the mirror, because we manifest what we are. And I always tell people this and they hate hearing it. They get really mad. I have a girl right now that is not very happy with me because I basically said, if you have chaos in you, you're going to have chaos around you, because it's a frequency that's comfortable in your space. And if you're complaining about chaos all the time, all the universe hears is, oh, she wants more chaos. Send her crazy shit, lessons and challenges and heartaches. And we talked earlier, sometimes things just happen.
Mhm.
But sometimes things happen for a reason. And I also think that because we attract what we are, if we're attracting things that aren't like what we want, then you got to go, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to work on in myself? And so I took a long, hard look, and I was like, wow, I'm full of shit. I'm attracting all these inauthentic people because I'm full of crap. And I'm only showing up for the people to be a good person. And there was some echoing voice in my head of my childhood too about, you know, um, you want to be a good person, you want to go to heaven. I mean,
Mhm.
just complete bullshit. And even now I teach my clients in my course, Big Mess to Big Magic. It's funny because when you stop worrying about being a good mom, you suddenly become a good mom, because now you're focused on making integrity filled decisions, and you're focused on honoring your sacred space, and you're focused on things that are important, not what will the neighbors think
Right.
or what will the rest of the family think. You just start making decisions that are kind and loving and integrity filled and honoring the other soul you're interacting with. So I
Mhm.
looked around and I was like, okay, well, I apparently need to work on some stuff, because I'm attracting all of, these inauthentic people who are happy to accept my help. They're happy to get out of a domestic violence situation, move to a one-bedroom apartment, and it end up, thanks to my efforts and asking other people for help, it ends up fully furnished. But yet I go through this experience and you're nowhere to be found. Like, I've
Mhm.
shown up and shown up and shown up. But it was all crap, because the whole reason I was showing up for other people was inauthentic. It wasn't from the right intention. It wasn't, this brings me joy, Dawn.
Mhm.
You and I having this conversation brings me joy. So therefore, I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
It brings me joy. It feels like it honors my life experience. It feels kind. It feels integrity filled. I'm going to show up. But I wasn't. I was showing up trying to be the best person in the room. I was trying to show up to get into the pearly gates. It was complete crap. And of course, it attracted complete crap and chaos into my life. And so I created Lift a Sister Up as just a place, an organization for women to support each other, encourage each other. And I spend, since this experience, I spent about an hour a day, at least Monday through Friday, doing nothing but encouraging others, sending love notes,
Mhm.
letters. Not so much now, because I'm traveling abroad in Mexico, and you may not get that letter of encouragement for 6 months.
Mhm.
Um, but messages on Facebook, text messages, holding space for other people, creating space within that hour for other people, and getting nothing in return, and
Mhm.
just doing it because it brings me joy and I feel called to do it. So now this divine link to God, my higher power, is a little more clear. It's a little more crisp. It's a little more obvious, the nudges and the whispers for me in the space of it, intuition, because what I preach now, I'm practicing something from the right space.
Yeah.
Whereas before, it was I was totally full of crap and didn't even know it. You couldn't find a single person to say something horrible about me. But it still wasn't right. It was still about appearance. And it was still about my lack of courage to be disliked.
Yeah. Something that you just said that really I was thinking of is it's okay to be a giver and it's okay to do things for people, but
Mhm.
you got to check your motives, right? If I'm doing something just to do it with not any expectation of anything in return, I don't
Mhm.
care. I just want to do it, do it. If I'm going
Mhm.
to buy you something or give you something, and in the
Mhm.
back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I gave her this. I mean, is she going to give me something?
Mhm.
Totally off the mark. Your motives are not clear. And
Mhm.
what it made me think of is years back, I used to just pray and meditate for peace because chaos everywhere, chaos,
Mhm.
whole life. I just want peace. Please give me peace. And then what I realized is when
Okay, she'll be back in a second.
I'm back.
That was our bathroom break.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's awesome.
um, when I stopped praying for peace and I
Mhm.
started living peacefully, I didn't have to pray for it anymore.
Mhm.
Imagine that.
Mhm.
And I think um, Abraham Hicks or Esther talks about this. She says, we've got to be careful about what we're manifesting because sometimes when you are manifesting for something that you want so badly, it almost sends like out the different intention.
Mhm.
Like,
Like, how bad do you want it? Let me
yeah,
give you some challenging. Let me
yeah,
give you some challenges. Oh,
yeah.
really? You want this?
Uh-huh.
How bad? Then that's how it was when we downsized and we started traveling abroad in Mexico. It felt like the universe, like I literally thought, I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. I really felt like the universe was like, how bad do you want this?
Hmm.
Because you downsized to like luggage.
Hmm.
How bad do you want this? Oh,
Yeah.
and you go to a country where you don't speak the language like at all. How
Yeah.
bad do you want this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a
yeah, I agree with that. That's such a good point. In,
lot.
Instead of saying this is the thing I want, I'm already in this massive gratitude as if it's already happened. It
Yeah.
feels like this, it looks like this, it smells like this. I can feel it in my belly and my chest, like this whole experience, and I'm so excited and I'm in such gratitude as if it's already happened. And now I let it go. And I surrender the experience
Hmm.
and I'm putting together all my angels and my guides. Okay, everybody get to work and make this thing happen. And for me, every morning I wake up, my feet hit the floor, and the first thing I say to myself is, nothing shall enter this sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good. And I obsess on it all day long when I walk through thresholds of doors, when like we have an architect that's coming over to our house today, and I do that blessing on the house before I open the door when the doorbell rings.
Hmm.
Phone calls, emails, interactions on social media. Nothing shall enter the sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good.
I love
Period.
I love that.
And I obsess on it.
I used to have a mantra. I actually ran a half marathon when I was in much better shape. But I read the training manual and it said create a mantra
Hmm.
that you say over and over and over when you're at like mile 10 and you're getting tired. You just keep saying this mantra over and over. And I did it and it worked. And you know
Hmm.
what? It's just thank you for the reminder because I am going to create another mantra and I like yours. I
Hmm.
might just
And
have to borrow it.
I feel like for you, when you walk in your kitchen,
Yeah.
that needs to be your mantra.
Yes, because
Whatever that's about.
Yeah, because we were talking about the eating thing was like the
Mm-hmm.
last thing on my, I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure it's not the last. I'm sure I'm going to have other things, but right now it's the thing that's right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. And the interaction with your family,
Yeah.
friends, family, and like I feel like that kitchen is such a hub.
Yes,
Um,
it is. Yeah.
mhm.
I even have artwork on the table right now because I'm getting ready for the Steps of Change 5K. It's a fundraiser, and I've got a painting over here. I've got little rocks that I'm painting.
Aw,
It's all over the kitchen. But
I love it.
I love that mantra. Can you say that again? Because I want to
It's
write.
it's so simple and it's so important and it's a promise you're making. And I think about the four agreements when I think about this because the four agreements are about a commitment to your community and a commitment to yourself, a promise to yourself first and then to the world around you. And I feel like when you're saying it, that's what you're saying. And it's nothing shall enter this sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good. And it's just a prayer that you're saying, and you're putting everybody to work. The universe is manifesting that for you. Oh, what serves her highest good? And then you release what your expectation is of that.
Oh,
Um,
gosh, that's so
because
good.
it's so clean. And
It's
my best friend, I think, is the first person. My best friend Joe Franklin is the first person I ever heard say that, and I went, oh, power. That's so much power in those words. Oh my gosh.
hmm
So yeah,
hmm See, we didn't get to this on our first
I know. Our first fake interview.
so it was meant to be. The other thing that we talked about that was really, really good is about, letting go of things, ideas,
Hmm.
thoughts, feelings,
Right?
and not just filling them back up right away.
Hmm.
You use the analogy of the sofa, which I love.
Yeah, you can't put a brand new sofa on top of an old nasty bachelor pad sofa. You got to like empty the space out and be like, oh, this is an empty space. This feels weird,
Hmm
but I'm already in gratitude for the bigger, better thing that's coming.
Yeah.
That's actually how I manifested a like $5,000 brown leather sofa sectional for like 500 bucks. Like I literally, David came to the front door. I've told this story before. I love it. David came to the front door and I'm at the door and I'm like, hey, just so you know, we're getting a new sofa. It's this chocolate brown. It's leather. It's got the cup holders. It's electric. It's sectional for upstairs because we had just moved in together. And
hmm
I said, it's going to be perfect. And he's holding his stuff like, okay, do I need to go get in the car? Are we going somewhere to get it? Like, I don't understand. And I said, no, I'm saying it out loud so that I can let everybody know to get to work on finding us the sofa and the universe can do its thing. It's because it's magic. Like magic happens all the time.
Yes.
And I said, oh, by the way, the sofa, the old sofa's upstairs. It's sort of moved to the middle off to the side of the room. So the space is available and I need to figure out who we're selling that sofa to. And so it's like you had to walk around it was like really weird, but the space where the new sofa would go was empty. And so within like a week and a half later, $500 sectional. My friend posted on Facebook that she had this exact sofa stored in her storage unit and they didn't want to keep paying for the storage unit because they'd already been paying for like a couple of years. And
hmm
she messaged me. I said, okay, I'll give you $500 for your sofa, blah, blah, blah. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we paid a lot more than that. I said, no problem. It's towards the end of the month. I know you don't want to pay for another month's rent, but I can have it picked up on Saturday. We just have to rent a U-Haul,
hmm
picked up on Saturday and off your plate Saturday. Just let me know, talk to your husband. I mean, this
Yeah.
was like crazy nice. And she's like, okay, yeah, come get it. Week and a half. So this stuff works, and it works in a
Yes.
tangible, like tangible space. It doesn't just work like up here. It's
Right.
real.
It's
But you
energy.
can't manifest something. Yeah, but you can't manifest something till you let go of something.
Exactly.
If your heart is full of stories, you're hoarding stories about your childhood, about your ex, about your kids, about you're hoarding these stories because you're like sure this is how it was. Like this is what really happened because we think our thoughts are reality, even though they're sort of twisted and like they're not truly reality because we're seeing them from our perspective. So if you
hmm
can loosen up that grip on your stories, you can slowly sort of spill that pain and rigidity and controlling feeling. You can sort of spill that out of your heart And then when you let go of that stuff, it's very subtle, but it feels like a sort of floaty, airy feeling in your chest. It just feels lighter.
Yeah.
And it might not even be a conscious decision, but you're telling the universe you're ready for the good stuff.
Right.
Because now I'm not blaming my mom. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
holding on to that story. I'm not blaming my ex. I'm not blaming, the person that let me go from my job. I'm not anything. I'm just like, oh, those are just experiences. And those people participating in this experience with me were experiencing something completely different in their soul's journey.
Right.
And even the people that hurt us, what were their lessons in that? And how did we call them in? Like, I wanted to learn independence at a young age. Yeah. So what do I get? I get a dad that doesn't show up, who's not around, who comes in and out of my life because I figure out, oh, I need to ground and create my own sense of stability. And I need to honor my gifts and trust my intuition and
Mm-hmm.
stop making excuses for this person and writing stories about this person. So, of course, the universe is like, oh, these are all things that you agreed to before you got here. And these are all the people that love you and are
Mm-hmm.
showing up in love to teach you something that you asked for, that your soul asked for, even though it sucks and it sounds ridiculous. But if we look at those people coming and going in our lives and the hurt and those experiences, isn't it better to
Yeah.
think, I'm a badass soul and I called on these lessons? Isn't it better to think that than to think, my life is hard, I'm in so much pain, I can't find gratitude, all these things are being done to me? That's a victim space. I'd much rather think I'm a badass soul and yeah, this sucks.
Right.
But my soul must have called in these lessons because I need to learn these things. I must have chaos in my life because my heart is filled with chaos. I must
Hmm.
be drawing in inauthentic people because I lack the courage to be disliked and I'm not being authentic. Like, I mean, there's just so many better ways of looking at things that
Right.
give us back our power.
Right. Well, and like I said earlier, it's not really so much about the things that have happened
Hmm.
because bad things happen every single day to a lot of different people.
It's an ebb
But
and flow. Like,
but what are we going to do with it? What are we going
right.
to do with that? Like you said, are
Hmm.
we going to stick in that victim role, or
Hmm.
are we going to use that as a ripple to create positive change? Because
Yeah.
ripple goes on forever and ever and ever. So what am I going to do with that?
And do you want to keep learning this? I mean, change something. Change the way you look at it. Like
Yes.
change because otherwise you're going to get the same lesson over and over and over. People that
Right.
are like,
Right.
gosh, all men are awful. I'm like, well, maybe you're awful. Like what are you working on with yourself? Because you keep
Yeah.
attracting the same man. He's just got a different color skin. He's got different color hair. He's got a different name. He's the exact same dude. He's the exact same archetype style over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Because you're so called in that lesson. So you want to keep doing this? Like you can insist on being right. You can insist on being right. And these are real things that happen to me and these people hurt me. Or you can
Hmm.
go, okay, I don't want to keep learning this. This sucks.
Yeah.
What do I need to learn from it? So it can
Right.
stop showing up in my life.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are we
Yeah.
going to do with that? I mean, what's the lesson? And
Hmm.
and I firmly believe, and it's been repeated to me several times by one of my female friends, my best friend. She'll say, I'll tell her something. I don't so much anymore, but she would say, well, what's the lesson? Because if you haven't learned the lesson, you're going to get more practice.
Yeah, it's complete madness to me. I'm like, you know, um, my ex, I said something to him years ago before we were divorced. I said, is it more important to be right than be loved? Is it more important to be in a loving space? Or is it more important that our ego is so big we have to make it our way? Like,
Mm.
what's more important? Because if you're right, you might be very lonely,
Yeah. This,
or you might be surrounded by a lot more lessons because you're
yeah,
too busy trying to be right.
right.
Yeah.
This next book that you and I are both in, Radical Self
Hmm.
Love, which is part of the Creative Life book series by Jessica Hughes.
Hmm.
It, when I wrote my story, and it really was, I had an intuitive reach out to me about a dream she had about my son.
Mm-hmm.
But the lesson was like, you travel through any dark space in your life, the darkness I call it,
Mm-hmm.
you emerge through the other side. If you don't try and skirt around it or go above it or go under it, you go through it. Everything in your life can be more beautiful, more vibrant, more peaceful, more meaningful. You know, I can speak for me because I latch on to the things that bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want in my life now.
Yeah. More
A
of that,
sunset,
right?
a sunset. Like, I don't
Yep.
look at a sunset the same way as I ever
Mm-hmm.
used to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I took it for granted. Now it's like, wow, will you look at that? That's so awesome.
Yeah, and tragedy wakes up the parts of our brain that are important. Like we
Mhm.
talked about grief on this last conversation we had, where we were
Yes.
talking about, grief and moving through forgiveness are like the Achilles heel, which
Yeah.
get us stumped up and completely shut down our manifesting, um, our ability to manifest amazing things in our life. It just shuts everything down because we're trying to figure out what's important, and grief moves things to the front that are important, because we
Yeah.
wake up in the morning and we're so in pain that we go, okay, am I gonna eat today? Am I gonna drink enough water today? Am I gonna shower? Like, it's probably only gonna be one of those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and which is important. And then you're like, okay, how am I gonna take care of myself? And the radical self-love through that process is brilliant too, because you have to go, okay, I'm still here. I'm still in this human body, having this human experience on this planet. People still depend on me. I'm going to eat well today.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't shower, but I'm going to eat well today.
Yeah.
Um, but grief moves that right to the front. And so, I just, those decisions about what's radical, radical self-love is just, for me, it looks like a pendulum where we're like serving everybody and we're burnout. And then we're screw everybody. We're going to book a massage. And so I feel like radical self-love is the pendulum swirl, whooshing up to the side, the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm
Mhm.
going to book the massage and everybody can kiss my butt today. Right.
Mhm.
But radical self-love, if we go there, eventually we kind of come back to center. And that's
Yes.
how most things are in our life, is they're like a pendulum. It's like
Yes.
all the way over here and then all the way over here and then peace
Right.
in the middle. But radical self-love is a powerful tool to show us who everybody is around us. I did a post the other day that said radical self-love is like a megaphone to all your family and friends going, I'm practicing radical self-love. Show me who you are now.
Mhm.
Because when I start telling you no, because I need to get more sleep, or because I haven't been feeling well, or, I, you know, have other things that are really necessary that I handle in my personal life to keep my personal life going, and honor my sacred space and keep my body healthy. When I
Yeah.
start telling you no, all of a sudden you show me who you are and you show me why you've been showing up. Because if you only been showing up because I'm the person to invite to the dinner party and I'm good in the kitchen, and I stop and I say, oh, you know what? I just think I want to come and sit and relax. I've never really enjoyed one of your parties. I love being in the kitchen, but I'm kind of tired lately. I'm going through a lot. I'm experiencing grief, whatever. I just want to come sit and like hang out. You might get invited, but you probably won't get invited again if they were only holding space for you because you're convenient.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then you have to stop and go, well, am I hanging around with these people because they're convenient?
Yeah.
Like, is that honoring my sacred space, or am I spending the afternoon with some epic, badass, phenomenal freaking humans that I want to be more like? Because there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, and again, once you're in that flow
Zone.
energy zone, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it, you're going to be attracted to, and those people will be attracted to you that are at that same frequency.
Hmm.
It's
And you'll
inevitable.
notice it too, Dawn, and I'm sure you've seen this a million times, Dawn, where like someone messages you and they're like, I don't know why, but I feel like we need to talk.
Yeah.
I feel like we would be great friends. Let's have a conversation.
Hmm.
And you're like, because your frequency has shifted, and now this other person, so it's a great thing. if your frequency is up here. It's
Yeah.
not so great if your frequency is down here because they're like, oh, let's connect because you're good at finding things and you're good at connecting people and you're good at cleaning up after parties or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's so true. And I just, in fact, like this is science. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's obvious, it's very, very much true. They did a study about socioeconomical, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you will hang out with the same people in your socioeconomical path.
Mhm. Yeah, especially if you want to feel like the smartest person in the room or the most successful person in the room, or these people around you aren't making you uncomfortable with your complacency.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you get around high achievers and you're like, oh, they're intimidating. Yeah, because they rattle a part of you that knows you need to be doing better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Well, being a badass soul, I think, means you've called in a ton of lessons that really suck and they're hard, but it's
Yeah.
because you are here to make a difference and you're here to make an impact on the planet. And I think that
Yes.
radical self-love is a powerful space to get people there more quickly because
Right.
it thins the herd and
Mm-hmm.
it raises your frequency and it's challenging. And it's funny, my chapter is about how everyone around you is going to react when you discover radical self-love. The thing no one talks about, which is it gets ugly. Like it gets a little ugly. Family and friends don't like it when you're no longer convenient to them. So I'm super excited that this book is coming out and I can't wait to read your chapter. And we have so much
Likewise,
stuff we have so much stuff to look forward to. And I hope we get to do this again.
we will. We
I hope we
definitely
do this
will.
again.
And I will definitely hit the record button from the get-go the next time. But I wanted to leave.
So funny.
I know we're kind of short on time, but I wanted to reach out to everyone and just
Hmm.
encourage the the simple gratitude list. You know, back to the basics.
Hmm. It raises your frequency. It's a real thing.
Gratitude all day long. You know, for the simplest things. Man,
Hmm.
I'm so glad I get to bend over and tie this tennis shoe.
Obsess on it. Obsess on the ridiculousness of gratitude, and it will raise your frequency. And then also, we talked about mantras. Nothing shall enter the sacred space that doesn't serve my highest good. Period.
Yes.
Handle it.
Yes.
Hmm.
So good.
Agreed.
All right. Great talking to you. I know it's a little bit shorter than our first recording,
We
but
just leave them wanting more.
yeah, we'll definitely talk again.
Yeah,
We
for
we
sure.
have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joe.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks for joining me on the Catch Some SoulShine podcast with my special guest, Joe Davis, the founder of liftasisterup.com. She provides one-to-one coaching for people, women, who seek to be happy, who really want to use and hone in on the power of manifestation. Ask yourself, are you an empath? Are you feeling the weight of the world right now? Are you living in peace? These are things that she can help you sort through, and I will have her information in the bio of this podcast. I also want to encourage you to please rate, like, and share this podcast. Leave a comment that helps the algorithm. And if you are interested, I do have a free 11 powerful affirmation journal that features some of my artwork, and that will be in the comments as well, soulshine-sparkle.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.